Hello and welcome to the Green Machine. I'm David, your host, joined as always by Martin and Nick. This is the Green Machine Live, your home for Irish football news and nostalgia, where you, the lovely fans, the lovely people out there watching us on YouTube and Facebook, get to have your say. Say what you want, leave a comment, get involved, and just to show we're being serious about it, look at that. Serious, mate. We're serious about football here. And of course, if you like what we do, don't forget to give us a follow on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Go to thegreenmachinepodcast.com, greenmachinepodcast.com. And if you're at thegreenmachinepodcast.com and you've taken that leap, go a little further. Go to the shop and get yourself one of these bad boys, which is actually going to be on its way to Terry Phelan. There you go. That very shirt is going to go to Terry Phelan. So get one of those jerseys, 40 quid or 45 euros. Free postage anywhere in the world. And also, where is it? That's the shirt. And you can get yourself a lovely set of badges and stickers. Ireland badges, Green Machine badges. Lads, greenmachinepodcast.com/shop. You know, it makes sense. If you want to support the pod, we thank you for your support. But if you really want to support us like in a John Delaney kind of way, head over to the shop. You know, it makes sense. Right, now we've got that whoring out of the way, lads. How are we doing? Did we have a full complement last week? We did, didn't we?
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
unusual. Yeah, normally I'm the only one that's...
I was at Wembley, wasn't I? I've got my
You are at Wembley, yes.
lanyard still, wearing my lanyard. And this
Get
one
that lanyard off you. You haven't earned it.
So I have that. But yeah, no, we were at Wembley last week. I don't actually remember an awful lot of the podcast from last week.
Were you a little bit tipsy?
I kind of was. But I brought the common sense to the pod, so I wouldn't let everyone.
Well, you brought the common aspect to him, I wouldn't say the sense. But anyway, normally this is a classy podcast. Pure class. As I said, those of you watching at home, if you want to leave a comment, have your say, get involved, ask us a question. We'll get to it eventually. I suppose, Martin, should we ask you? Where was Martin this week? Where were you, Martin? You were in Wembley last week. Where were you this week?
A very busy week this week. Really delighted that we were invited from West London up to the National Football Museum in Manchester. Ran into John Walters, Stephen Ward, John O'Shea, and Shay Given and Nee Fahy. Fantastic evening. Gareth Maher of the FAI has done a book called Away Days. It's 30 years of Irish footballers in the Premier League. Absolutely brilliant night put on by the Consulate of the Irish Embassy. Give a shout out to Karina as well for inviting us up there. But really good night in Manchester. Gave up watching Man United against Tottenham, but didn't miss out on too much of that. Although we did go back to the pub afterwards and watch the rest of the game, which didn't go down very well. Obviously with the locals there. But yeah, really good night in Manchester. Fantastic insights and brilliant stories. Gareth's a good lad. You know, he's helped us out on the pod over the years as well. He is a friend of the pod. You know, he'd done that fantastic book with Claire Shine before, which was very, very good. And Claire done an interview with us previously about the challenge.
Which caused her to retire.
Yeah, and this is her his second book. And we're featuring interviews with the Irish players who played in the Premier League over the years. There's a few little known ones as well in there, and some of the big names obviously feature. But yeah, great, really good insight and some fantastic stories. All of the lads are very, very good speakers. Nee Fahy, fantastic stories as well.
And do you have a copy of the book with you, Martin?
We do have a copy. I'll have to get
Martin.
it out the
Come
bag.
on.
I do have a copy, and we are going to be putting it up as a competition prize. But yeah, I can run and get it if you really want me to.
Not really.
No. But no, look, absolutely brilliant night. All right, okay. Fantastic night, as I said. And yeah, look, all of the lads are all a bit media savvy, aren't they? Some fantastic stories. And, you know, Shay Given was obviously giving it a little bit as, you know, former Manchester City player, giving it about the Arsenal and Man City result prior to the event. Yeah. And it was hosted fantastically well as well by Alan Keegan of the voice of Old Trafford, the MC who announces the substitutes and everything at Old Trafford. Very, very good. But yeah, I did get the opportunity to kind of dig out Shay Given and get one back for the red half of Manchester by saying that was he happy that he was joined on the stage by the only goalkeeper, Irish goalkeeper, to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League, which is actually John O'Shea. Today, and it's his birthday today.
Yes, it is. 42 years of age. 42 years young. Sounds like a fun night. You've got a bit of ticket news for us here, Martin, as well, before we get into Oi Big.
We do, yeah. Obviously, the application process for the away games is Greece is due to close now with the FAI. They've been inundated with interest, actually bigger demand for the Greece away game than, which is on the 16th of June, than expected.
Nothing to do with it, by the way. Is it like a sunny holiday in June? Nothing to do with
that. But they have had, more numbers than technically the Greek FA would have to allocate. So, but a number of first-time applicants, which again I think shows the fantastic support of Irish fans for what's happening under Stephen Kenny, basically, and some of our young players coming through, and I think it's all very, very positive. But they will be doing their priority list now to see. I mean, obviously they'll ask the Greek FA to give us a full capacity of what we actually want and who are intending to travel. But it may come down to a kind of priority list that they do of away travellers, which they ran fantastically well now with all the data. But yeah, the other home news information is obviously for the Gibraltar game on the Monday, which is on the 19th. That is going to be part of a duo package, 2-match package, basically, where they're selling the Republic of Ireland against Gibraltar on the 19th. And then they're going to hold another ticket you have to buy to see the Dutch come to Dublin.
I
mean, it's a good market employ, and they have had incredible interest in this when they did it for the last game. But I think people now, will be probably a bit annoyed that I think that the Gibraltar game wouldn't have sold out with it on its own. So it's clever from the FAI. They need money. I don't really have a problem with it because I think it does ensure the most loyal fans who would be going to both games anyway, if they're not a season ticket holder, would be going. And the interesting thing, I think we've got like 24,000 season ticket holders now. So it's not, we've got the loyalty there.
And all three of us here are season ticket holders. Nick, what do you think? Martin thinks it's a good ploy. What do you think of the dual match package forcing you, if you want to see Holland, you got to see Gibraltar or you got to buy a ticket for it?
Yeah, look, I mean, Martin makes a great point there that if you're a proper fan, you're going to go to both of them, really, aren't you?
And you would have had the season ticket anyway.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah, possibly. But also the fact that they're too, they're spread out very wide apart. So people might be available for one. Yeah. I thought you liked that one, Dave. Ooh. So people might not necessarily be available for both. I think it does wean out people who mightn't be as loyal a fan. Just going to the Holland match for the sake of going to the Holland match. Having said that, there could be people who maybe they haven't had the opportunity to go to a game, or maybe they maybe they just aren't available for the Gibraltar match. I don't really know. As Martin made a good point. It wouldn't be for me. I think they should do it separately. Again, if we had more stadiums in Ireland, maybe that Gibraltar game could take place somewhere else.
Well, yeah, I do think, me personally, I think the FAI would be stupid if they didn't do it. They've got two heavy hitters in world football. Take advantage of it. You got to take advantage of it. They need money. And as we saw this week, I don't understand it fully. So that's probably, we're not going to really touch on it here. But the government are going to help them with the betting levy. So they need to get as much money as they possibly can. Okay, lads, we're going to move it on there to our boys in green. Sorry, there's no music. We're going to wait till the end of the season. So for that one person that winds up, who ain't, can we say their name?
No.
All right.
Give the listeners something to chew on.
Yeah. You are again. Saucy. Right. Nick, it is over to you. Our boys in green. Very short list.
Very, very short list of our boys in green, but we'll get into it. So James McLean, an assist for Wigan in their 1-1 draw with Reading. Liam Delap, I suppose we had to put him on the list. We were that stuck this week. So a goal for Preston North End. They lost 4-1 to Sheffield United, who have been promoted. So congratulations to John Egan, Enda Stevens, and of course, the greatest defender of our generation, Kieran Clark.
He was on loan.
He's only on loan. And has only played about 3 games this season. Yeah. They all count. Aidan Keena, a brace for Cheltenham Town. They beat Wycombe Wanderers 3-0. James Collins, a goal for Derby County in their 1-1 draw with Portsmouth. Tyler Goodrum, very, very highly rated young winger at Oxford United, Irish qualified, has declared for Ireland, as far as I know. He scored in the 3-0 win, as I said, for Oxford United in against Forest Green Rovers. Warren O'Hara, goal for MK Dons in their 4-4 draw with Barnsley, and Olamide Shadipu an assist for Lincoln City against Morecambe.
There we go. And yeah, a whopping week of football. And how actually, well, actually, there has been a positive week for football, for Irish football. I just want to shout, I meant to do this at the top of the podcast, actually, but, better late than never. I just want to congratulate the under 16s women's national team who won the UEFA development tournament in Serbia on penalties. Well done, girls. And also, best of luck tomorrow to the under 15s, the men's under 15s. Oh, how can you be a men's? Anyway, yes, they are in the final tomorrow. They play Italy in the, hold on, trying to pronounce the fucking thing, Torneo delle Nazioni.com tournament.
I thought you were brushing up in your Italian, Dave. Different podcast. Sorry, different podcast.
Yeah. Bella.
She gave me the elbow, Nick.
I like that. Put that photo up again. I like the fact that they haven't superimposed Richard Dunn in the background there. It is a genuine mountain there. So in the background. But look, I'll tell you that photo as well for the viewers. Basically, if you look at that photo, I'm going to be controversial here. I'm sure we'll have some people have a problem with some of the identities of or how the appearances of some of our players there, and are they Irish and things as well.
I thought you were going to mention they're not wearing Castore jerseys, but anyway.
I was going to say that as well. Yeah, they're not yet.
No, but no, continue. Sorry, you were making a point. You were getting all Bono on us. Go on.
No, I was making a point that it just shows you a little bit of the changing demographic of some of our young representatives of the Irish teams, and they all do fantastically well. I mean, you look at Andrew Omobamidele recently. His rise and his ancestry in a sense, and he qualifies and plays for Ireland and stuff. So we've got a lot of young people now growing up in Ireland or of Irish heritage as well, but also African heritage, and they're obviously different nationalities they can play for. And I know that some people don't always embrace that. And I know I'm going on to a very controversial topic, but I think it's worth raising.
And you don't have to be Irish to be born. Sorry, you don't have to be born in Ireland to be Irish. But lads, as I could tell you, it does help. No, that's a joke. That's a joke, folks. Although it does actually help, being the only Irish-born member of the podcast, what you're saying, just putting it out there. Actually, very. So now we've had the happy news of our underage players doing very, very well. There was a very worrying statistic during the week from our friends over at Irish Abroad, and this is what he had to say. And he is the man for facts, by the way. There was 0 Ireland football players named in the starting 11 for any club in a complete round of Premier League fixtures, i.e. 10 or 11 fixtures, every club playing at least once for the first time in the Premier League ever. That was this week. And just before we get on to that, lads, that's...
Look. I mean, the numbers have been slowly dwindling for the last 10 years or so, and it's disappointing to see. I don't think it's going to last necessarily. You've got Josh Cullen, you've got Andrew Michael Obafemi getting promoted with Burnley. I can actually see Ryan Manning going to one of Sheffield United or Burnley. You've got John Egan going back in. So there are guys coming back into the Premier League. And Evan Ferguson naturally will come back. He's having his injury issues and so on.
Coleman was injured too, yeah.
Yeah, so we do have this. Look, it's been on the decline for a long time, but having said that, we do have this habit of Irish fans of catastrophizing those kind of statistics. The Championship is an excellent league. People forget that it's one of the top leagues in Europe, and we have a huge amount of players playing there and scoring there every week. So we don't need to worry as much as we think.
Okay, that's fair. Moving on, you mentioned his name, Evan Ferguson, signed a contract, 5-year extension anyway, to 2028. That's not his team number, is it? I was looking at that going, is that a shirt number?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was a shirt number, and then I thought, actually, no, is that because he signed until 2028? There's another one. There's the official tweet. We're delighted to announce that Evan Ferguson has committed his long-term future to the club by signing a contract that runs until 2028. Good man, Evan. Turned down Man United. Who could blame him? Well, no, I mean,
that didn't happen. Oh,
what?
that never happened, obviously, did it? But no, look, it is a brilliant decision by him. I think he's going to play more here. He can have another year in the Premier League with a very good side now. I mean, they scored 6 goals without him the other day. Imagine what it would have been if he'd have been playing. Andrew Moran as well. I mean, we're all talking about Evan Ferguson, but he signed a contract as well at Brighton. He's going to be an incredible player as well. Again, like Nick was just said, we are worrying too much, I think, about Irish players not playing, and they will be next season. And, other players are in contention for promotions and things like that. So,
okay,
I think we're in a very, very good space with it. But I think he was very clever taking this. He did agree an extension to his deal last year when he turned 18. And his money's gone up again now, and it's been rewarded. And again, fair play to him. He's grounded. Got excellent advice from his dad, obviously, who works within the FAI. And I think he's going to do really, really well. And obviously, he's not going to be there in 5 years' time. If he keeps going, the rise of Evan Ferguson, I'm sure there'll become a Fergie time when he will move on.
Yeah, no, I think he's at the right. Yeah. We get him, Martin. Jesus, he's at the right club, Nick, isn't he? There's no need for him to go sit on the bench somewhere. He probably, he's at the right club to develop.
Yeah, no, I think another season with Brighton. The only worry you'd have is if he... Look, I mean, there was no concrete speculation. Sorry, there was no concrete interest, was there? And I know there was speculation, but I mean, there was a lot of talk. The only thing you worry about is if he doesn't hit that form next season and he goes off the radar a little bit, was this his opportunity to go? But no, look, I think he's very good. I think he's a good all-round player and his move will come eventually. But look, Brighton could be playing in Europe next season as well, so just to bear that in mind.
Yep, no, fair enough. One player that won't be playing in the Premier League next season, I don't think, and they're not playing now, is this lad, Gavin Bazunu, Ireland's number 1. Dropped during the week and dropped today. Southampton losing 2-1 at home. Sorry, 2-1. No, 3-1 actually, wasn't it, to Newcastle in the end there. Coming? Do you think it was coming, Martin? Or Nick, sorry, go on.
Harsh. I mean, he hasn't been flawless this season. He has made mistakes, and I think people need to realize that he's still an exceptional talent. He's very, very young, youngest consistent number 1 Premier League goalkeeper ever. And I think people need to bear that in mind. Very modern goalkeeper. Distribution is excellent. Still very, very young. I mean, a lot of goalkeepers don't peak until they're mid to late 20s anyway. It was coming. I think it's kind of a hint of desperation. They are in a relegation scrap. Sometimes some player just takes the hit. Alex McCarthy is very, very experienced. I think that's possibly where it's coming from more than anything. I don't think it's a quality issue. Like if you were to look at the two keepers quality-wise, I think Bazunu is better. But as I said, McCarthy has been around. He's been in relegation scraps before, and maybe that's what they're calling on. But yeah, it's a frustrating one. But as I said, excellent goalkeeper, and he will learn a lot from this season.
Yeah, I don't think Martin a spell in the Championship would do him any harm, really, would it? Because he went straight from League One, didn't he, to the Premier League. That's a massive jump.
Yeah, it's a massive jump and stuff. I like I said, Nick, like Nick said, sorry, he's not been flawless and stuff, but I think he'll be embraced now at the end of the season by Ireland when he comes back into the camp. We're also hearing speculation Kelleher should move on. He has to get out of there, and that's going to be a bit of a test for Gavin as well, because where he moves, is he going to be a number 1 there, Kelleher? And if Bazunu is not number 1 anymore at Southampton and he's relegated, how that's perceived. I mean, you just made a good point there, Nick. If Evan Ferguson doesn't kick on next season, you kind of go off the radar. Is that going to happen to Bazunu? I don't think it will. And you just don't know contractually as well. There could be some crazy clauses there in the background that, if he's played a certain amount of games, and does it validate if he, some contract clause that he doesn't have to take a cut of wages if they get relegated. They're all clever and twisted contracts these days. So you just wouldn't know what's going on. Are they planning, for example, you wouldn't know if he's got a relegation clause. If we go down, I can leave. Yeah. We don't know that could be there. So are they planning for the future? You just don't know.
You have to keep in mind how bad that Southampton team are. Like they're dog shite. Like they're really, really poor. And I mean, we mentioned it. Look, he has made mistakes. He has showed a bit of inexperience at times, but he's so young. He's ridiculously young for a goalkeeper.
Just giving the kid a break as well. Just
Yeah,
give
it
him a
could be.
break.
Yeah,
Mental
without a doubt.
break.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah. But as I said, Alex McCarthy, he's very experienced, and I think that's why he's come in more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a thing that they think he's a better keeper than Bazunu.
Okay. Moving it on a little bit closer to home. Well, to Nick's home, not us, because we live in London. It's come out this week. There's been an issue in the League of Ireland with Pyro. And you also get it in the Aviva. And yeah, basically, it's sort of come to a head. It's crescendoed a little bit. So the Dublin Fire Brigade are getting involved. And they've launched this week the Stay Away from Pyro campaign, alerting supporters to the dangers of pyrotechnics. I find this whole thing amazing. When I've worked, don't anymore, but I used to work in spectator safety and security in football here in London for a number of years, a long time. And one of the massive no-nos over here is having flares, any sort of pyrotechnic in the crowd. If you were caught with a flare, they have flare sniffing dogs. They'll obviously have drug sniffing dogs. They have all sorts. If you're caught with a flare, you will be arrested straight away, just on, I think, on a firearms offences. I find it baffling that there's an argument about this from certain sections of the League of Ireland media. I had a little tit for tat with one on Twitter. You can find it there, I'm sure. And basically, the guy was calling out, well, this is ridiculous, trying to put a ban on pyrotechnics. It's part of the atmosphere. Come on, no pyro, no party. These things are dangerous. These things can explode. They're illegal. They're probably unlicensed. They're probably ungoverned. So they can blow up at any time. Like the bangers and the Black Cat bangers and all that you get in Ireland. Because in the UK, not sure if you're aware of this, Mark, I'm not taking the piss, but in the UK, obviously, fireworks are legal over here, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're covered. Bonfire night and Guy Fawkes night. But in the Republic of Ireland, they're illegal.
No.
And they're a lot more. Okay, I just wasn't sure if you were, but they are illegal and they're fucking lethal because they're brought in from China and places like that, so they're ungoverned. And I just find it amazing that people are saying, "Oh, why can't we have our pyros?" And one of the arguments I found, and I know Nick, you're more of a League of Ireland man than any of us on here, but I just find it incredible that people are so ignorant to this, to the dangers of pyrotechnics. And I was speaking to a mate of mine, he was a member of the, and I just, are they illegal? And he goes, yeah, they are, but it's a grey area. It's like, how can it be a grey area? These things are legal. They can blind you, they can maim you, they can kill you. People have died. You get hit in the head with one of these things. I think somebody got injured at a game, got hit in the head with these things. And let's be honest, people will throw them. They have a beer bottle, they throw them. You have bricks, they'll throw them. And, he was like, yeah, but, this is going to cause a problem now with certain, it's going to lead to fines and to clubs. It should lead to fines. It should lead to arrests. It should lead to more education on this. This is ridiculous. We had to watch. I'm going on a bit of a tangent now, but we had to watch all the videos and look at all the pictures as part of our training. So when you get a flare goes off, you don't touch it. You cordon the area off and you just let it burn itself out. You can't put it out because these things are emergency flares. They're designed to go on water and stuff. And I just find it baffling that people are actually rowing about this. Oh no, we have to have pyros. I know they look great, but these things are legal.
Yeah, look, it's a bit of a. I don't want to generalize, and I'm probably getting a bit of trouble for saying this, but it is kind of a new wave League of Ireland fan phenomenon. And there was a picture of a lad at the Ireland game with the fucking thing in his mouth, and people were saying, "Oh, buy that man a pint." As you said, Dave, I'm all for having a bit of crack. I'm all for atmosphere. As you put it really well, they are unpredictable, and there hasn't been any major incident with pyrotechnics, and not yet. That's the issue. That is the issue, and they are unregulated and so on. There is an ignorance to them that they can potentially be dangerous. It hasn't been seen, as I said. I don't think if you go to a League of Ireland game, the atmosphere is phenomenal, and it's not because of the pyro. It's not because of the pyro. I was at the FAI Cup final, and whenever I go to Bowes, I actually sit away from, kind of the ultra section because I'm very
sandwich man, are you?
I'm very tame and I'm, very pure. So I purposely sit away from it.
Fish
so
finger sandwich. Is that
fish
the
finger
Bohemians
sandwiches.
version?
But the FAI Cup final, I remember I was tense before the game. Really, really tense. First cup final in years, and I'm shitting it, and I'm nervous about the game, and I'm losing sleep over the game because it was a big deal to me. And for the first 10 minutes, I couldn't see the game because of the pyro. And as I said, like I didn't feel in danger. It was nothing like that. But I remember thinking the atmosphere here is phenomenal. And it's actually like a bunch of cavemen who've just discovered fire. And that's going to get me in bother. And people won't like that. And they'll think I'm a gobshite for saying that. But that's how I kind of felt. Like the atmosphere in League of Ireland is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it's not as a result of pyro. There's people I know who support different clubs. It is an age demographic thing. It is younger lads. That's no disrespect to them. That's not me being ignorant to them. But sometimes I wonder: is it the football you're there for, or is it kind of the party? The no pyro, no party, whatever. Like I'm all for a bit of crack, but at the same time, like, is it really adding to the atmosphere, or is it just adding an aesthetic? I don't. Like as I said, I don't know. You've mentioned this before, Dave. Even off air about the potential harms, and I think that's the big one. But people don't care. Like it's not going to. No one's opinion is going to change it. If the stuff is banned, it'll be quickly forgotten. I guarantee you, it'll be quickly forgotten because the atmosphere is so good at League of Ireland matches.
And you know the funny, one of the arguments was like, but they should be more focused on, instead of worrying about this, should be more focused on facilities because these stadiums are crumbling and all that. I was like, well, that's more reason to ban these things because some of them are wooden stands. Yeah. Bradford City Fire, that was another thing we had to watch.
I think I actually don't think, like when people are calling out for this and they're claiming it enhances the atmosphere, I think it is doing a disservice to the League of Ireland fans who are creating an unbelievable atmosphere with the chanting, with the singing, with the crack that's had. It's a different. That's why it's getting so popular. It's an unbelievable spectacle to go to. Yes, the facilities are shite. We spoke about this last week. The facilities are shite. The facilities do need to be upgraded. But the one pull factor for a huge amount of people and a huge amount of new wave League of Ireland fans is the experience. It's the match day experience, not the facilities, but the match day experience, the crack that they have. And that is not down. Saying it's down to pyro is actually, it's actually a misservice to those League of Ireland fans who are creating an atmosphere.
I agree there. Like any time I've gone to a League of Ireland match, I've had great fun, and the singing, the banter, the chants, like they're great fun. Never had pyro. It just looks good on social media. I just think that's what it is. But I just think it's a ridiculous argument. But over here, they're very strict on it. They need to get strict on it in Ireland. Stamp it out. Then move on, and then that way clubs aren't getting fined. It's this real stupid thing. What do you make of it, Martin? I know you're not a League of Ireland buff.
I think I agree with you completely. I think they should be banned, and I think they've got to obviously increase the searches and stuff. It comes down to policing and the infrastructure of security at the stadiums. There's not a lot of police doing those searches. It's stewards. They'll hammer you. You can't take in a bag bigger than A4. If you've travelled over and you're going back to the airport that night, you can't bring that in, but you can get these fucking things in, and they are lethal. And it used to just be a very common thing. But it was the away fans used to bring them, from other countries would come over because you never really saw it before. But now it seems that we're creating a problem as well. I know there was French fans with them as well at the last game, but the Irish lad obviously it looks unbelievable in the photos. Let's be honest, it does. But I don't really give a shit about that. Like, and that's one of the arguments you see on Twitter as well. If you're going to ban them then in the League of Ireland, why are you putting up photos and they're in them? Well, it's hard to take a photo of a crowd when they're in there so common a game. So they're going, and it is you are showing the atmosphere, and it so happens to be, they have to edit everything out or just say how are we going to take?
Yeah, it's there. It's happened.
It happened. So that's it. I feel strongly in it as well because I know there'll be uproar, and so it's just got to happen once, isn't it? Someone's going to have an accident once, or there'll be recriminations, and then we'll have a Just Given page set up for some poor little girl who's fucking been maimed by one of them. And it's outrageous. Well, we know it's outrageous. We know they've got a danger. They shouldn't be at the stadium. Fair play to them now, trying to ban them and do searches and stop people coming in with them.
I get it in a way because you haven't seen anything go wrong. So I get it. I do understand where people are coming from, and maybe that is a bit of an ignorance on their point of view. Maybe it's a lack of education on their point of view. But I understand because it does look harmless to the plain eye. But naturally, in the UK, I mean, not recently, but I mean, there have been fires, there have been incidences where things have gone wrong, and it could. And I actually feel that even if something did go wrong, and let's say there was a dodgy whatever flare and it did blow up or whatever, I actually don't think people's attitudes or perspectives would change in it, to be brutally honest.
No.
I don't get the, like I said, I'm going to League of Ireland since I was 9 or 10, 9 or 10, and you would have had flares down again, but not to the extent of now. I think social media is a big part of it. I think people want it for their fucking Instagrams, and they want it for photos and stuff like that. And they just, it's kind of like a cult mentality of it. And as I said, yeah, it does something for the atmosphere. I don't think it's the be all and end all of the atmosphere, but it is very much it's a new wave of fans. It's a new obsession. I don't get it. And as I said, I'm going to League of Ireland a lot longer than a lot of these lads. It doesn't make my opinion more important, but I'm looking at it from a practicality point of view, and just as I said, from a footballing point of view, I'm there to watch the football. I'm not there to react to something like I've discovered fire for the first time.
No, someone else probably have. Right, we're going to leave it on that one, but I just get rid of them. Trust me. I've seen the videos. Just has to happen once. You're gonna someone's life, and it will be a little girl or it'll be a little boy. Doesn't really know what's going on. It's always happens to someone like that who's not aware of it, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna blow someone's fingers off. It's gonna take someone's eye out. It's gonna kill somebody, and But anyway, I don't think this is gonna go away. But yeah, somebody argues.
I don't think our opinion is gonna be very popular. But as I said, Dave, you're in that background. You're in that. You've been in that industry, and you've seen it go wrong.
I've seen it go wrong. I have been in this industry. I've seen it on a much larger scale in the Premier League and in the Championship. And yeah, it can go wrong. But anyway, I'm sure we'll get back to this at some stage during the summer. Right, lads, we're going to move it on to the social media watch. Right, first bit we have lined up. Now, sometimes I don't tell you guys what we've got, but we're going to go with the safe one. We'll start with the safe one. During the week, a poll was put out by UEFA. Pick a centre half that you would have to go up against. Haaland. What's his name again? I keep thinking the dad's name, Alfinga.
Erling
Haaland. Yeah, this lad. Gary Lineker put up Paul McGrath. So pick one defender to go up against him. And Gary Lineker said Paul McGrath. I actually put up Paul McGrath. And then, a few minutes later, I saw Gary Lineker said it. So he clearly copied me. And then, funnily enough, McGrath did actually respond to it, and he just says, "No, thank you, Gary Lineker." I actually think Paul McGrath would be perfect against him. Intelligence, pace, power.
Didn't he say he'd hate to play against the modern footballer because they've gotten so technical? But I think he still would have done him. I think he still would have been well.
Oh, he would have. Yeah, he would have booted him up in the air. Probably
Brilliant.
Yeah, he was a great player. Another one, our good friend Paddy Kenny. Obviously Sheffield. He's a Sheffield United player, ex-player, and his rivals aren't doing too well. They're in the league below them, so Sheffield United got promotion. So here he is on Twitter. You stay classy, Paddy. Read it and weep, piggies. He's got like a pig's face, a pig, and a pig's nose. Them idiots celebrating promotion in March is the best banter around. #We are Premier League. And he's just showing it that Sheffield Wednesday cannot get promoted automatically from League One to the Championship. So they have to go into the playoffs. So there you go. He doesn't help himself, Paddy Kenny, does he?
Well, do you remember the bit where he said he'd given up drinking and then what was he doing? The torpedoes?
Bollocks at the end of it, yeah.
I like Paddy. I think he's funny. He's entertaining.
He's a bit,
I say he likes Pyro, though.
I'd say he definitely likes Pyro. And the last bit here, actually, and then we're going to get to the comments. It was actually brought to my attention by a fan of the show and a friend of mine. He's not going to like that I brought this up. But it was chemical ban on Arsenal. That's what he had to say. There will be no sympathy for Arsenal for my generation of players. The post-invincible Gunners under Arsene Wenger, the group that came out in 2004, were arrogant arseholes. There were a couple of exceptions, but in general, they were. You can fill in the blank yourselves, and this newspaper would be just a bunch of asterisks. And that's Kevin Capan having a go at Arsene Wenger's Invincibles. He's not wrong, is he?
I never met them personally, but as a United fan, I'd definitely back that point.
You definitely agree there, yeah. Good old Kevin Capan. I used to like Kevin Capan, now I love him.
Oh, I agree completely with Kuban on this. Arseholes
Yeah.
is correct too, kind of word. Absolute myth, the Invincibles as well. Absolute myth. But I don't want to turn this into a Premier League show. But yeah, look, he had run-ins, didn't he, with I think it was Fabregas and stuff, and they're just their arrogance on the pitch. And, you know, again, I could go off on a tangent on Fabregas, who I just absolutely despise. And when he was,
Jesus,
I cannot stand Fabregas.
Is it because he threw a pizza at Fergie?
No, it's not that at all. It wasn't that, but it's something else.
What did he do? Like, did he fucking?
Oh no, it was the comments. I think it was he dug out Mark Hughes, didn't he? When I think he kind of was saying that's not football and stuff, like, you know, and I think Mark Hughes as the manager at the time said, you know, like we will, you know, they hated playing Stoke, didn't they? They hated playing teams who didn't let them play and would go, well, that's not football, that's not football. And it was a very Barcelona kind of opinion to have, you know, if you brought up at Barcelona like Fabregas was. But I think that's what he said to Mark Hughes. He went, "You played for Barcelona, did you?" And he went, "This isn't football." And like Mark Hughes was going, "Well, I'm managing a different team of ability, aren't I? So we're not going to take you on what you do." But yeah, very arrogant, Fabregas, and Kuban's mentioned it before. No, but Kuban's mentioned it before as well with them, and yeah, just that whole generation.
I know. To be fair, you know, at least they weren't that bad though, Martin. It's not as if they, you know, jumped into spectators and kicked one of them or hit one of them or anything like that, you know. But, you know, very arrogant. Yeah.
Look, I'm a passionate believer that we kick out racists out of football, and if a man who is brought up in France doesn't understand that with the language barrier, that you can't do it literally, well, I don't have a problem with what he did. You know.
Yeah, something to do with the seagulls.
Andy Townsend, what did he say about that? Do you remember?
I actually don't. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, Andy Townsend said, it goes, I have a lot of respect. I think it was something like, I'll find the quote and I'll post it on our socials, but it was basically that I have a lot of respect for what Cantona did there. That bloke's arsehole must have fallen out of his trousers when Eric walked over. So that was it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I do find it funny though, you Man United fans, you're so sensitive. You know, you always forget, you know, you start accusing these clubs and these managers and all this kind of stuff, of this sort of stuff, but you sort of forget that many years ago you guys were doing the exact same thing. It's like, don't look over here, look over here. Anyway, that's another podcast for another day. Right, let's get to the comments, chaps. Not too many tonight. We had loads last week. Come on. Daryl O'Connor, story lads. Hello, Daryl. And John Griffin with his thumbs up there as per usual. Daryl O'Connor on our YouTube channel. The first comment. I've only one of those lanyards from an FAI Cup final a few years back. Never felt so out of place for a North Sider with all the special treatment. Yeah, I know it is special, isn't it? Martin has never earned one in his life. But
he's technically a North Sider though. He's North London, so
yeah,
he's a North Sider.
I'm actually a North Sider. I was born on the north side of Dublin. Funny enough. Couldn't afford me though, so I had to move to the south. Darrell O'Connor again. John O'Shea was rumoured a week or two ago to take over as manager of a championship club, Reading, I believe. Some reported as a done deal. Thankfully, it didn't happen, or that would be another change. Very quickly, Martin, did he mention that whilst you were hobnobbing with John O'Shea, humping his leg and all sorts?
No, and I didn't dare ask him actually. No, I didn't ask him. But
you're supposed to be a reporter.
I know. Take my lanyard off.
Yes, I was
asking
exactly
the questions to people. No,
No.
I didn't ask him that, but he didn't give any indication about it at all in the chat he was having, and you know, none of the lads called him out on it either. But yeah, it was not something I went with. But a few of them we did have a chat about, like, you know, the debate we had a few weeks ago about Josh Cullen, and he was you know, obviously, with his links to Burnley, Stephen Ward said absolutely no problem for him in the Premier League.
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll see.
And obviously, Walter said that as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be fair, they're hardly going to slay the lad now, are they? They're hardly going to say, yeah, he's shit with a member of the FAI just there. And the fact that John O'Shea works for the FAI now. Come on, Martin. Yeah. You know, you're supposed to be a reporter. Burn that lanyard.
It was good. It was, yeah.
Yeah. You're a poor reporter, just saying.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Darrell O'Connor again. Thankfully, I have my season ticket. Got approved for Greece away. Yeah, just that's, you know, people moaning about the tickets. And I know people are going to say, oh, but, you know, I get it. Some people can't afford sometimes, you know, but, you know, get your season ticket. You get everything. It's 100 quid. It's great value. We all have a season ticket. Interesting nonsense. Lads, do you think that Promise on Cherry has any chance for call up in the future? Nick, that is one for you, man.
Yeah, she scored an own goal yesterday.
So that's a no.
I like him. He does offer something a little bit different. Similar kind of player to Chidozie Ogbene. Very, very quick, but very, very one-dimensional. That's the one thing I would say. So, look, maybe a couple of years down the line, I think he's a little bit off that. I think it's a shame he didn't play more underage games. But, look, excellent player and playing under Scott Brown, so there'll be plenty of bites on him. But, no, he's a while off. He is a while off, I think. He's a lot to do and a lot of development to do, I think.
Fair. Kieran Boyle, sunny Florida. Premier League is a lost cause. Irish players should look to Italy, Holland, etc. Even MLS. Days of having a team of full Irish players in the Premier League is done. Well, maybe for now.
Martin, I think this is a really good opportunity.
Yeah,
for you to bring up something about Italy. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to jump on it as soon as I saw it as well. Yeah, so we had Keith Andrews over at Risk London last week, and we were asked. He was asked about development of young players and where they should go, and he was very against anyone going to Italy. He says if they've got an awful record of developing young players and stuff, and he would not be looking at that because it was actually a conversation piece the other day with the Brexit laws and things like that of Irish players having to leave or whatever way they are. It was interesting that obviously the Irish Embassy, that was the gig with the book launch the other day because there was an appeal basically by some of the lads that who played for Ireland and, you know, Shay given 134 caps. And they were saying if with the present kind of rules on players being able to go over to England and not able to do so, that, you know, they've got to change that because it's really going to hamper away the development of young players now being able to go to England. A lot of them wouldn't have had that opportunity if the current kind of rules are there. Yeah. So there was an appeal basically to the embassy and the politicians and stuff to all kind of get this together and sort it out. But yeah, Keith Andrews, back to him, he said Italy's not the place to develop football as for Irish lads, basically.
Well, there you go. I mean, they've always had a culture of that, haven't they? Like old players. I think they had, what was his name? The goalkeeper playing to was like 40.
Dino Zoff.
No? Zoff, Buffon as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they Italians have always gone with older players. Very rarely to go with young lads. That's just over the years. Hey, moving it on. Donald Byrne. How are you, Donald? The Republic of Ireland Power Chair football team are playing next weekend too in Gormanstown against England, Northern Ireland and Scotland. And it's 167 days before we are in Australia for the Power Chair Football World Cup. Well, fantastic, Donald. Thank you for that. Do send us on some more information on that, Donald, by the way. Send us a direct message on Facebook. And if you got any literature on that you want us to give you a shout or well, we can sort it out for you. We can get a bit of exposure on that for you. Kieran Boyle, again. And don't mention Egan and Stevens, Nick. They won't make Sheffield United team when they play next year.
But you notice how we didn't mention Kieran Clark, so he must think that he will.
I think it's safe to say
Kieran Clark won't be going up with them. Egan will definitely start. I think he got their player of the season a couple of nights ago. Stevens, no, I think it's over for Stevens, unfortunately. I don't think
Manning will probably replace.
I see Manning going in there. Yeah, I do see Manning. He plays a similar system. He's a free agent in the summer. So yeah, but no, John Egan will definitely start 100%. But no, Kieran Clark will probably go back to Newcastle and be released and end up
Derby.
Derby. Yeah, end up at Derby. Yeah,
he'll go to Derby. I'm telling you now. Darrell O'Connor. Interesting stat in the France program was the last time we lined out with players from all Premier League clubs was October 2004 at France away. Yep, under the much squandered, in my opinion, Brian Kerr era.
Evan Ferguson wasn't even born.
No, you know what's funny about?
Sorry, there was a lot of good content in that match program.
But the best content was
Adam Scully, the analytical piece, excellent.
You'll never get a lanyard, Nick. I'll see to that. It was kind of funny when I was in Ireland. My mate, he's a massive Pats fan. He's probably not watching, but he actually organises all the buses. He went up to Derry, with like an 8-hour drive up and back. He's a mad Pats fan. He's a great lad actually, and I stayed with him. And he has a pool table at home, and it was a great day because he's a massive Brian Kerr fan. Like, he loves Brian Kerr. His sun shines out of Brian Kerr's arse in this guy's eyes. And I gave him a hiding on his own pool table and gave him a lecture as to why Brian Kerr was a shit Ireland manager. It was a great morning. Just saying. They were kind of full PL 11. Darrell O'Connor again. Feel sorry for Gavin Bazunu. He arguably has the worst defense in the Premier League in front of him. He'll bounce back. That's another thing. I mean, you could you could put anyone. You could put me in goal there. Still wouldn't have any effect. They are terrible. Kieran Boyle. Hashtag away to Jesus with story shite. Hashtag we want Adidas.
Do you know who I like? Nike.
Yes.
Good man, Kieran.
Good man, Kieran. You know, it makes sense. Kieran bought one, didn't he? Has he bought one yet?
I think so.
Good man, Kieran. Yep. If you want
We've
to
had a lot of orders. Sorry, Dave. I can't remember them all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My Alexa's turned up now in the background. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Did she buy one as well? Yes, if you want to get your hands on one of these lovely shirts, this one will be going to Terry Phelan out in India. Go to the shop, greenmachinepodcast.com/shop. Support the pod if you wouldn't mind. £40 or €45, free postage anywhere in the world. Come on, you know it makes sense. That doesn't particularly fancy. Get one of the. Oh, that's just a white card, isn't it? Sorry, it's the light. There.
The badges, which
The
I'm
badges.
actually modelling. That's the new FAI badge. There you go.
Yeah.
That is very,
All part
very
of it.
popular the other night. Actually, gave a few of them away to the Irish Embassy and some of the FAI people would really like them.
Did Shay give and take one?
No, I think he'd gone out the door by that stage.
Probably would have charged you to take one.
Oh,
Gave him when he dropped it.
hey. Moving on. John O'Shea wouldn't have dropped it. Just saying.
No, my new hero.
Yeah.
Well,
He's a lovely fella, John O'Shea. Darrell O'Connor again. Love Kilban, and I always find to agree with him. He says it how it is. Speaking about the Invincibles, yeah. If my good Arsenal buddy is watching, and Darrell O'Connor gets the last say of the week. Egan will definitely play in the Premier League with Sheffield United. Yeah, I reckon
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Right. We're going to move it on.
Sorry, just one thing. I've got Gary Doherty in my head now for some reason, and Brian Kerr. But there was a very good story the other night. I think it's worth telling. Was they were asking funny stories, and this is the one I can kind of remember and probably say. But it was Gary Doherty on international duty with Brian Kerr, and it was when we were going to be playing. The second game of the window was against the Faroe Islands, and the lads decided they wanted to go out, and they, so Gary Doherty just got dressed up and everything. He's walking along the corridor, and the first person he sees then coming out of his door is Brian Kerr. So he's trying to sneak out, and he's going, "Where are you going?" And he just quickly thought on his feet and went, "Oh, just when we beat the Faroes on Wednesday, I'm just trying on my gear and seeing what I look like, feeling what I look like in it." And he goes, "All right," and off you go, back to your room, kind of thing. Yeah, because he got caught. Off he goes, and he goes around the corner like 10 of the lads are just all going back to their rooms. Just that Gary Doherty had gone first and got caught. Fucking brilliant story.
Oh god, good old team spirit on the Brian Kerr, eh? No wonder it went to shit. Right, we're gonna move it on. That's the last section of the show. We're gonna go with this week back in the day and what we have coming up this Wednesday. Don't you dare miss it. We're gonna be talking about Ireland's 2002 World Cup squad. All three of us, 6-baller on there. We're all going to be chatting about UR. We're all going to be chatting. It's not even an UR, is it? It's just like fully out there. Yep, we're going to be talking about Mick's original 2002 World Cup team. Who was in it? Because it was a little bit different from what eventually would go, and not the obvious one. Isn't that right, Martin? Not right. The obvious, Very not the good. Obvious omission that would go home early from the World Cup.
That we're still talking about.
Yeah. Mark Kennedy, was it? Mark Kennedy.
Yeah. Colin Healy's
involved. Don't tell Mick the babysitter's injured. Is that it?
Hey. But yeah, we're going to be talking about all of that. We have Mick's reaction. We have quotes from Mick and his justification of leaving certain players that we go through. All of that. We have a good old chat about that. That is coming up. That will be on the website, the Spotify, Google, all that happy stuff, and of course on the YouTube channel. That will be dropping this Wednesday at 8 a.m. That's this Wednesday at 8 a.m. Lads, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for watching at home. We will be back next Wednesday. We don't have many more left, lads, do we? The season's approaching. The end of the season's approaching fast. But we will be back at 9:30 next week. Please don't forget to give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
You're not on though, are you, next week?
Well, I wasn't going to say that, Martin. But
No,
you
but
know,
I think you should
I
say
want you.
why. Yeah, I think you should say why that you're in London and it's your your new adopted birth. Well, your new adopted home are celebrating the coronation, so that's why you're not on. Tell the listeners that now. Don't be talking about you love the monarchy. The only republic you want is the Republic of Ireland. We know that. Look, you'll be there with the lads along the route now, along the Mall, watching.
Did you see
your king getting crowned?
Did you actually see, Martin? You've got a great opportunity that you can actually shout out and pledge your allegiance to the king from distance. I'll be in town anyway, but yeah. No, I will not be doing any such. Because when that's on, I'll probably be in bed or on work. I think it's like 9:30 in the morning. Anyway, before I'm so rudely interrupted, I will not be on next week. But didn't want to tell the good people out there, lads, because I want you to have some sort of viewership. You know. Don't want to give the whole game away. But before I was so rudely interrupted, lads, join us please on Facebook's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that happy stuff. Leave us a 5-star review if you can. It does help. Helps with the algorithm and all that happy stuff, which we still don't understand. And please don't forget to go over to the shop. That's greenmachinepodcast.com/shop. And we also have some great articles over there as well. And we have a full archive where you can find all sorts of stuff. This episode included, an audio version of this episode, and our entire back catalogue is over there on greenmachinepodcast.com. Anyway, we're out of time. I'm out of breath. And we will see you next week. And I didn't line it up again. Shit. It's not even a gimmick at this stage. It's just absent-mindedness. Anyway, good night.